Hi there guys, in this video we're going to have a look at the Type 7. Now I know I originally looked at the Type 7 a while back, however in 2.2 they have actually revised some of the specs of the ship, so I need to re-look at the ship now. So let's go and have a look at it. The Type 7 is primarily a trade ship as such. It cost around about 17.5 million. Bear in mind this is Founders World and this is recorded in a beta, so technically stats could change. It has a top speed of 181 with a boost speed of 301. It has 1.2 maneuverability. It has roughly a jump drive range of 24. So the Type 7 has been boosted as such. Like I said, it's got some stronger shields and a stronger hull level. Also the internal compartments have been changed, but I'll go over that later. First thing to do is have a look at the cockpit. Now as you can see, we've got these kind of bars left and right, which are not ideal. On the left we've just got kind of an open sort of area. There's no space for another seat or anything. On the top you can see there's kind of more bars, and on the right we've kind of got the same as we got. I do like that little cable, even though it's probably quite messy how it's been put there, but anyway. So the next thing to do is go into the outfitting section. So this next thing to do is to have a look in the outfitting section. This ship is designed for trading, however it does have hardpoints. We have 4 hardpoints on this ship. 2 of them are located just the left and right of the cockpit, and then we have one on the underside, and then we have one on the top. The one on the top is quite far away from the other 3, which making it not ideal. I will show you where these are later, but for now I'm just going to equip some guns so I can actually show you where they are later. But bear in mind also all the hardpoints are small points, so you're not going to get anything particularly that great. This ship cannot actually equip a fighter neither, so that's a bit of a downer. Next onto our utility slots, we have 4 utility mounts. These are for kill warrant scanners, shield boosters, etc. So now onto our internal. Like all the other ships, we do have armour or bulkhead. We start with the lightweight, and then there's the reinforced one, which adds an extra 32 tons. Then we have military that adds 63 tons. Mirrored surface adds 63, and reactive surface armor also adds 63 tons. Next we have a class 4 reactor. This should give us plenty of power on this ship. We won't be putting a lot of power into things like weapons and stuff like that, but you probably will be using the spare power for shield boosters, etc. Next we have a class 5 thrusters. For this I'm going to put in the highest ones because obviously I'm going to test them later. I've just noticed we've got an exchange and store there. Maybe that's something new. Next we have a class 5 frameshift drive, which gives us around about 23-24. Next we have a life support of class 4. Then we have a power distributor of class 3, which is not ideal, but you shouldn't really be needing that. We have a class 3 sensors, which are again not great, but we do have quite a nice fuel tank of a class 5 giving us 32 tons. That is kind of quite nice. Now onto our optional internal compartments. So this is where things have changed quite a lot. So now we have 3 class 6 slots, we have 3 class 5 slots, and 2 class 3. Potentially making the ship being able to carry up to 304 tons, which is an increase, and if you're using this ship for trading, it is going to be very welcomed. Obviously the more you can transport, the more money you can make. In the past this ship didn't kind of have a purpose as such because it was kind of superseded by a few other ships. So with these improvements it should make it a bit better for trading, essentially what this ship is designed for. I suppose the next thing to do is to actually look at the external of the ship. For some odd reason the camera does seem to go through the floor on this one. It does happen on a few other ships as well, but anyway. So if we turn the camera around you can see the ship now. The cockpit is very much at the front. It's a kind of compact design, but it's kind of very boxy, which you may find that you like or dislike. Like I said, it's not a terrible design in any sense. I mean, some of the ships do have some really strange designs and patterns, but like I said, it's functional, and that's where this ship is really going for. So if we have a look on the kind of side of the ship to give you another sort of angle, just got to move the camera around. You can see that again it still carries on that boxy kind of design. This time on the side we have these little wings that stick out. These wings they don't protrude too much and shouldn't cause any issue. And if we finally have a look at the engine, which I do like to actually look at, I mean some of you probably are not that interested on the back of the ship, but I do still find it's part of it. And it's sometimes interesting to see what exactly is on the back. It gives you some sort of idea of the sort of focus as well of the engines and stuff like that. On this ship we have two engines at the top, either left and right in the middle we have a little sort of hatch, as you can see. I kind of like how they've actually done that. It looks quite neat. As you can see, this is the actual hatch that I guess you go in and out. Although I suppose there must be some sort of ladder or something to actually, otherwise just fall out. Anyway, so let's get this ship undocked and see what sort of speed we get. Obviously you can't go too quickly through the door because there's a good chance of smashing into it. Like I said, this ship isn't particularly that bad and shouldn't be that awkward to get through the door. Some of the ships can be quite awkward, but because of its compact design. So we're getting about 198 with a boost of 300, say just under 330. Right, so the next thing to do is to check the turn speed of this ship. For this I'm going to be using A-class thrusters and in 4 pips in the blue section, so this is the best case scenario. So I'm saying about 16 seconds, which is pretty good for this size ship. It's not going to be groundbreaking, but I wouldn't expect it to. The next thing to do is to look at the combat side, specifically where the guns are. So on this ship we actually have just 4 hardpoints, all of them being small. We have 2 directly left and right of the cockpit, and then we have 1 on the underside and then above. These are the pair that are just left to right in the cockpit. They're actually quite a good position. And these are the top and bottom, which are not ideal. The bottom one's not so bad. So let's go show you where these are. I know sometimes it can be quite difficult to actually know where these hard points are. So this is the top one. As you can see, it's mounted quite to the front of the ship. It is quite high up as well. You may be wanting to use that as a turret, like I said, because it would have pretty good coverage. It's quite awkward where it is, and especially when it's a small hardpoint, it's only going to give you sort of defense. The next hardpoint is on the underside. As you can see, it's kind of near the middle of the ship. It's not in a particularly bad place. Potentially you could see they could put another hardpoint to the left of that actually. I wonder if they might do that. Then finally our 2 last hardpoints, which are directly left and right of the cockpit. They are very, very close to the cockpit. As you can see, they're in a good position directly opposite the cockpit. However, being only small, they're not going to offer that much firepower, and I would say the weapons on board the Type 7 are purely for defensive reason rather than attack. So if I look at the ship in the 3 categories that I normally do, for a trade ship it is definitely not bad. There are obviously better ships out there that can trade better. However, at this range it's not bad. It does face pretty much competition from the Imperial Clipper, which is a few more million, but does offer the combat side as well, but equally that you could argue that is more expensive. As for exploration, this ship could potentially do it. However, the jump range is a little bit on the low side, capping out at 24, 25. You might be able to get it slightly higher with the engineers, but if you go and explore, and there's cheaper ships to do that with, such as the Asp Explorer. And finally, for combat, then I wouldn't recommend this ship at all. The hardpoints are not either sufficient quality to take on targets. You may be able to use them for things like mining, but I wouldn't recommend taking on other ships for them. So all in all, it's not a bad trade ship. Obviously the improvements do make it a bit more better. However, it does still face competition from the Imperial Clipper, which is more expensive but does offer the combat side. So it can actually defend itself, unlike the Type 7, which would basically have to run. So that's my look at the Type 7 after the improvements. If you like the video, please like it. Also, subscribing helps me. If you have any comments or suggestions, please post them below. Thanks guys for watching, take care and have fun out there.